Hello, my fellow cold sides of the pillow. I'm Mr. Church. Today we're going to be looking at the Farm to Market area, which has the Farmer's Market bundle, the Summer Thunder bundle, and I guess that's, yeah. So let's look at the Farmer's Market bundle. There's actually a couple of cool stuff in here. This includes the tent tarp Farmer's Market stand, the farm cat, the refurbished wood Farmer's Market stand, weekend player title prefix, Farmer's Market sign set, Farmer's Market basket set, truck trailer Farmer's Market stand, and the Farmer's Market letter set. Now, of course, the prefix, like all prefixes, can be found in your Pip-Boy. Go to your stats and then go all the way over to the right, and you'll find your prefixes and suffixes, and you can mix and match, and you can make yourself look so silly and stupid. Now, this will show up over your head in-game to other players, and it'll show up after your name when you're on a team. This also comes with a farmer cat, and like all cats, it has a weird broken back where there's like a big bulge out of it, like it's some kind of curve on a Nintendo 64 game. I don't know what's going on with that, but like the other cats and dogs and stuff, you can interact with it, you can change its name. You can only have one pet built at a time. Anyway, the cat will follow you around. If you're building, I recommend storing it because it will walk all over your stuff, get in the way. If it's standing on an item, or if it's in its box, you won't be able to move anything that the box is sitting on, and it'll step on the pressure plates that you're using and ruin your stuff. So I wouldn't build with the cat standing around. This is the sign set, pretty basic. These three signs, they say market on it. I like that they're very generic looking, and so you can probably use these in a lot of different settings. I also like this wooden one. Now look at the backs of these. These all are plain on the back as well, and that means you can use the back of these in addition if you want to put other lettering on them. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to use the backs of signs really quickly with this wooden sign. So you're just going to place it on a wall, go around to the other side of the wall and put down any floor decor item or any item that you set on the floor, and you're going to blueprint that item, and then you're going to go around and blueprint the wall decor. Now, when you go into your blueprints, you can place this facing the wall and it'll snap on the other direction. And that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat, and it allows you to make some creative wall decor using that backwards of the back of the sign. And similarly, we have the letters set. Now, this is, if you look very closely, it's a bunch of like notebook pages with black lettering painted on it and then nailed to a piece of wood. That's a little strange in my opinion, but it's kind of fine. I don't know. These letters are fine in my opinion, and because they're thicker, I think they'll be less likely to sink into the wall, which might be why they made them so thick, instead of just having them be the pieces of paper that they could be, why they're on pieces of wood like that, because sometimes when letters load in, they will shift slightly, and they'll sink into the surface that you built them on. So this probably wouldn't do that because the letters are so thick. So that's nice, I guess, whatever. This is my favorite item this week, and actually my favorite item that's been in the shop in months, and it's the basket set. These are a bunch of different items of food. They probably noticed a lot of players were finding ways to take the boxes of ingredients from one of the quest lines so they could display it in their camps, and they thought, oh, players want like good looking stuff in their camps to build with. Well, we can make some, I guess, why not? So they actually made these floor decor items, and that's a big W in my opinion. They're pretty nice. You have the different kinds of food: melons, potatoes, mute fruit, carrots, and whatever. And you can stack some of these up as well, and it's pretty good. I like that there's a little bit of random branding on the some of the crates and baskets, but not on all of them. There's Super Duper Mart's logo, and there's also a Blue Ridge Caravan. I know I always say it's best when they have like non-labeled stuff, but in a situation like this where they're clearly using like whatever leftover boxes they have laying around, having random logos in this situation does make sense, and having one random Blue Ridge Caravan crate actually adds to immersion rather than takes away from it. And you can use it in whatever you want, because it's obviously they're not Blue Ridge Caravan carrots. So I think that's fine. That's a big rant for that. Now we have three market stands. We have the refurbished wood one, and we have the tent tarp flap one, and we have the truck trailer one. And if you look very closely, these have some pretty good detail on them. In fact, I think that that one guy that makes the good stuff in the shop, I think they were cooking this week, okay? I think that these are all very well made. They have a lot of detail. There's like little chains on them. There's like old paint, and there's like these little like doors that slide back and forth. There's weights. There's a lot of like, there's old pieces of metal here, little pieces of rope, the can hanging down. Just like all these tiny little details make these things just really immersive, feel really well made and well detailed. And this one, the tent tarp one, not as detailed as the other one, but still I think well made, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. And then the truck one is really cool. We've got it says guns. This has no shirt, no shoes, no mutants, no service. So you have to bring your mutants, or you have to wear a shirt, wear shoes, and have mutants with you, or they won't sell you anything, is what this sign means. That's what that means. All sales are final. I think they're trying to sneak that in because that's what they're going to end up making the item shop be eventually, since they try to be as deceptive as possible and steal your stuff. But as you can see, this also has a lot of detail to it, and I think this looks really good. And honestly, I'm really proud of Billy for putting together these items. Now here's the problem, guys, and let's talk about it. These 3 stands are all very well made, very detailed, and what's more, you may notice they're all empty. So you're probably thinking, oh, that's because we have the fruit stands, the fruit baskets, so we can put the fruit baskets on them, right? No. Because when you try to put the stuff on these stands, the stuff pops up and sits on the ceiling, because that's what happens in this game. Whenever you try to place an item, the game will pick whichever surface it decided is the closest one, and it'll pop up to that area. This has always happened. It's always been a thing. You can't build and decorate in a place that has a low roof. Some of the prefabs do it, and it's been an issue for forever. Now, they could easily make this not happen by simply making, for example, they could make the tarp on the tarp thing have no hitbox. And what that would mean is items wouldn't be able to sit on it, so items wouldn't pop up to it, and you would be able to cover the counter with whatever you wanted. They didn't do that because that would take work and effort, and they're not going to do that. So there's 2 ways that you can get stuff onto these shelves that I'll show you. But keep in mind that in a couple years' time, when they finally finish screwing around and they make the camp build update thing that they've been working on, we will be able to easily place stuff on these shelves, no problem, because we won't have to worry about the clipping and stuff. We just turn on free place mode and we'll be able to just place the things where we want them. But until then, I'm going to show you how to use these shelves, and I'll show you using the fruit stands, the food stands, but you can do this with any item. So the first one, and this is the easier way, is you simply blueprint just the item that you want to place on the shelf. When you go into your blueprints, you will be able to place this down, and instead of popping up to the ceiling, it will set down where you want it. Now this is nice, and you can actually do multiple items at a time if you want to. So you could set up your whole thing and then blueprint all the stuff you want to put on it and then place it down. I did notice when I was doing this that the mute fruit for some reason doesn't like this trick, and it just pops up anyway. I tried a few different ways, and I tried it on both stands here, and it did the same thing. So it could be that some items don't want to play that way, and my guess is it's because Todd Howard hates you. And that's been my theory for a while now. But the other way, if you have an item that's doing that, is you can use the drop merge to move the item from the roof down to where you want it. So you simply will take the item, try to line it up with a shelf above on the roof here. And if you're doing it with multiple items at a time, try to make them be at the same level. And I'm not really gonna waste time putting this exactly, so the finished product, the items are probably going to be hanging out the front. But you're going to go into your power connectors and place down a pressure plate. When you pick this up and place it one time, the button on it will go down, it'll stay down. And when you place an item on a pressure plate that the button is pushed down on, the bottom item will push up into the top items. So it looks like you're sinking the top items down, you're actually pushing the bottom item up, but eventually you click over and over, and the items that you had on the top of the bottom item will end up down here on the shelf instead of on the roof. So you can do this when the items don't obey you, but you can use that method. Now with a truck, I noticed probably an accident, but there's a missing roof right above the bed. It could be that they just took the roof out because they didn't know how to fix this problem that we're encountering, and they were like, well, people are going to try to put stuff in the bed and be mad when they can't. So you can't actually place stuff directly under the hole here in the bed of the truck because they removed the very top of the roof here. But if you try to place things too close, it'll pop up, or it'll say that the item needs support, because when in doubt, the error code it gives you is that the item needs support, even if that's not the problem. You can use, obviously, the blueprint method to put stuff inside there without it popping up, and you can get stuff closer to the edges. Also, on the front of the truck, you can place stuff in here without it popping up as well. You want to put some seats in there or something, maybe those airplane seats, I don't know. You could blueprint those and place them in, otherwise they will pop up to the ceiling because that's just not enough space, and it thinks that the top of the truck is the closest possible floor for it to sit on. Makes sense. Now, usually I'll go over everything in sequential order, ending with news and special offers, but I'm going to hop over here real quick and look at the general farmer's market stand, just because we're already looking at these other stands, and I think it will help to contrast this with what we just looked at. So this is the farmer's market stand, and you may notice that it looks exactly like the flower cart vendor in many ways, and that's because it's a reskin of it. Now, unlike the flower cart, this is not a vending machine, it's just a floor decor item, and it also doesn't need to be powered up, and it doesn't give off any light because it doesn't have something to connect power to it with. And just like the flower cart, it's missing texture when you look at it. So instead of fixing the item that was broken, they made a second version of it and gave it to us for free. Well, if you have Fallout First, it's free, so it's not really free, you're still paying for it in a way. And the textures are still broken. I don't mind the reskinning of it exactly, because they didn't just repaint it, they did change the objects that are around the outside of it. There's baseball grenades, I think is what these blobs are supposed to be. And I think this must be a 2D version of Buff Out and Mentats? I'm not sure. But if this rendered in, it would look pretty cool in my opinion. And you can use both of these simultaneously, I think, because there's enough differences in the objects themselves that are piled around on them. And so I think that that's a successful reskin when you can do that. If you can't use the two items simultaneously, that's when you know a reskin is lazy and stupid and didn't change enough for it to make any sense. That is a free item if you have Fallout First, and it will be available for this month. And it is not a vending machine, keep in mind, and so don't even worry about it. Let's go back to Farm to Market, makes sense, and look at the Summer Thunder Bundle. Now this says new, just like this says new, but it's a different kind of new, because unlike this new isn't new, it's just bundled newly. But this stuff, including these three items down here, these are not new items. These are all repeat items that they've put together for the first time ever and named it the Summer Thunder Bundle for the first time ever, but they're all return items, so don't be confused by that. So we have the Lookout outfit, the Weather Control Station, Thunderstorm, Doctor's Orders Cigarette Machine, Track House, and the Lookout Hood. Okay, so obviously I can't find really any kind of correlation between this outfit and this house in this vending machine. So like thunderstorm, that could be with anything. That looks like it's from Doctor Who, I think. And so you can build this if you want like better fishing, pretend. But like, what does this have to do with literally anything? Okay, that's an awfully hot coffee pot. Anyway, you can also have this vending machine, and I think this thing looks pretty neat. So that's good. And then the track house, this is from a little over a year ago. It came with a bundle that had like this nasty fucking Triumph Terrace shelter that the lighting on it is still horrifically broken. And they're so stupid that they don't realize that the lighting looks like trash, that on their website, they took a picture of the new items to put on the website in that shelter. That's why the lighting on this picture looks like shit, because they turned all the saturation and contrast all the way up. The lighting's bugged and it doesn't cast a shadow on anything unless it's an entity. So your character, your turrets and mannequins and everything else doesn't have a shadow and just floats, and there's a glow that goes through it. And then there's like this dark, heavy shadow on the things that do have shadow. So it's all broken. The reason why I'm bothering bringing that up is over in Greatest Hits, the Triumph Terrace Housing Development Shelter is being sold. And I'm going to show you, just like I said, the lighting in here is fucked. And not only is the lighting fucked, but when it first came out, you couldn't build all the way to the walls. And people were like obviously complaining about it because, I mean, why would they not let you build inside the thing you purchased? So they're like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So they expanded it, so now we can build all the way to the walls. Kind of. They forgot to include free cam mode when they did that. So if you're in free cam mode, you still can only go to the old limit. But when you're not in free cam mode, you can go all the way to the edge. So if you build using free cam mode, you still can't build around the edge of this. And this has been this way for many months. I covered it in a video. People have posted bug reports on it. And so they haven't done anything and instead are selling it to you for money still. So I would definitely recommend, if there's ever a shelter to not purchase, it would be the Triumph Terrace Housing Development Shelter. It's broken. The lighting's broken. Where you can build is broken. Free cam is broken. And it sucks because this would be a really cool shelter if it didn't look like complete ass and they fixed the lighting and also that other bug. Anyway, that's the Summer Thunder bundle and also a mention of the shelter, which is going to be on another page. I'm saying them together, even though I'm jumping ahead again, because originally they were sold around the same time. They came out at the same time because you were meant to, like, I guess, build that house in that shelter because, you know, it's the house of the future from Fallout 4, and it's kind of, you know, got a similar setup to Sanctuary Hills and all that shit. So I think that it's something to keep in mind if you're considering getting one or the other or both, that the house is fine. It's kind of big. You can only build one of them, I should add. And so if you want to buy the shelter and then fill it with the houses, you can't. You can only build one, and the shelter is broken. So again, I would be disappointed in you greatly if you were to use your mom's money to buy that this week. So that's all the new, and air quote new stuff that's this week. You can buy the Farmer's Market basket set by itself, and it's only 300 atoms. And honestly, this is a really good value and really good item. And I would honestly recommend it if you're a builder and you like clutter. This is a really good clutter item. You can put it in your kitchens. You can put it in, obviously, fruit stand, vegetable stands, things you build. You can put it anywhere. It's going to be good. Fashnacht Buzz is back. This is the stuff from last week. I have a video on it if you want to check it out. I obviously wouldn't recommend it because we already are looking at enough Atom Shop stuff today, in my opinion. And now we're on the greatest hits, and like I said, this isn't a greatest hit. This is one of their greatest failures. So 35% off, no. If it was 100% off, I still would recommend not getting it, okay? Because it's just trash. This is the Graveyard Home Bundle. Now, it comes with the Coffin Stash Box, the Crypt Crook Backpack, the Crypt Crook Mask, the Gravestone Loot Bag, Skull Knocker, Concrete Mausoleum, Undead Tombstone, Crypt Crook Outfit, the Royal Tombstone, Gargoyle Tombstone, and the Tomb Bed. They're obviously selling this stuff because we're so close to Halloween. Honestly, this is probably the closest they've ever come, because in just a couple months is Halloween. So yeah, you can buy this stuff and build. Anyway, we have the construction worker bundle. In this bundle comes with the gilded paint for the pickaxe, the under construction sign, the tall cement tire wall, the miner lunch pail loot box, the pyramid cement tire wall, that one they accidentally lined up, jagged cement tire wall, scabber power armor skin, flat cement tire wall, flame paint for the pickaxe, shark paint for the pickaxe, and the construction safety paint. That's great. That's great. Anyway, so that's obviously missing a bunch of stuff, signs and things. I honestly, I don't understand, like, of all the things they have that they could, put as a construction worker theme, how is this what you've selected? A pail, a scabber power armor paint, so that's raider shit, okay? It's not construction worker. These are military, like, defensive structures. That's why there's military people in the pictures. And then you've got these paints for the pickaxe, because you know how construction workers, they go to work with a pickaxe. Like, personally, a contractor, I'm going to work with my gilded pickaxe, personally. They have stuff that would actually make sense as a construction worker, like, they've got chain link fences. They've got those yellow and white barricades, the little skid steer dumper thing. They've got the concrete mixer truck. They've got the forklift. But no, let's have a scabber power armor for the construction worker. This is what I'm talking about. They have one of these, and it's not even in the... Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that. Let's go to the spring bundle. We've got the fall elm trees, the brambles, summer elm trees, the red turret pack, the asbestos tile roof set, winter elm trees, nuclear waste barrel planter, and the mushroom lamp. So out of all this stuff, the brambles are pretty good. Otherwise, not really that much good. And this is a parachute backpack. Doesn't work, guys. I've tried it. You just die. And then this is the medical scrubs. Fun fact, there used to be this guy in PlayStation, and he was role-played as a doctor, and he never broke character, and you could go to his camp, which was set up like a little doctor's area with like a waiting room and everything, and he would like give you aid items and stuff. And if you tried to talk to him like he wasn't a doctor, he would get irritated. It was very interesting indeed. Anyway, he wore this, so always think of him when I see this, and that's really lore that you didn't ask for. This is the Silver Shroud paint for the Tesla rifle, because I'm sure the Silver Shroud would use a Tesla rifle, because it's so sneaky and stuff. You can also have the Bone Raider Power Armor skin. This is literally... You just take... what you did was you took excavator power armor and you made it worse. This only works on the excavator power armor, and it just puts a big skull on your face. So that's good. This is the Ohio River Adventure Dock Kit. You can kind of like raise and lower these in the ground a little bit. You can place them in water, unlike most objects. So that's a plus, and that's about the size of it. I mean, yeah, you can build a dock with it, I guess. So that's everything on the greatest hits, and aren't we glad we looked at it all. And now we're moving on to special, free, and special. We've got the Nixie Tube clock. This thing's kind of cool. It just blinks, the light just blinks on it, on and off. People used to use this as a toaster a lot of times. Including myself, until they gave us actual toasters. So that's cute. You've got some caps you can grab if you're like kind of hard up, which kind of am. Uh-oh. And then we've got the Blue Ridge vendor bot. This thing is the daily offers. So every day this is going to update and refresh every 24 hours, and there's be a new thing here that's going to be half off the alleged original price. And this guy has a Blue Ridge face in there for no reason. It doesn't really make any sense in any way. And then of course there's the general farmers market stand, which we looked at already. And the school furniture set, this stuff is kind of cool. The thing I just want to point out, by the way, is this stool has a special animation when you sit in it, and your character kind of like hangs his head in shame because it is the dominant's stool. And when I first covered this, I missed that detail, so I do want to point that out. This stool does have a special animation when you sit on it, and you look kind of sad and demure. I think that's all we have for this week, but I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members for your support. If it wasn't for your support, I wouldn't be able to make these videos, and I really do appreciate it. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, the link for that is in the description, but liking, subscribing, and commenting on the video, that all helps so much. If you're interested in joining the Discord, it's a great community, and also I stream on Twitch on Mondays and Fridays, so make sure you give me a follow there and come hang out, say hello. Also, I'll see you guys in the next video.